Hey everybody, welcome back to Awakened Intuition. A couple things I'd like to talk about real quick before I start the topic of this video. Number one, we have 9 subscribers, so thank you very much for coming along on this journey with me. I appreciate it. Number two, I've been a little bit bogged down lately with a lot of things with work, and I haven't had the ability to upload as much as I'd like. Also, people have been coming around and visiting that I don't get to see so often, so it's been very hectic. But here I am nonetheless. And the topic I'd like to talk about today, once we move past my tardiness, is the dark night of the soul. This is something that is pretty intense that a lot of people go through in their spiritual journey, and I've been through it a handful of times. It's not just something that happens one time, it's something that can happen a couple of times. Its duration can be different depending on who's having it and what's going on, but I'll just talk about the specifics of what it is right now. The dark night of the soul takes place essentially when you go into this sort of spiritual depression, when everything is just weighing down on you. There seems to be no hope. It's like wandering through a dark, dense jungle, no sense of direction exactly where you're going, and it's just a very scary and dense time. Nothing really feels enjoyable. You feel zapped of all your energy, very, very lost in the process of what exactly is going on. This can be a uncomfortable experience all around. It provides the ascension symptoms I talked about in my first video. Actually, it provides very dark emotions, and it provides a sense of not really understanding exactly what's going on. This happens for a couple of reasons. It happens, for one, when you continue to resist a change that needs to let go and a change that needs to happen so that you can propel yourself forward in your spiritual advancement in your life. It happens as well when you seem to have a block that needs to be removed, and your natural way of doing it is just to go into this dark place. A lot of the times going into a dark place really sucks, but actually its long-term purpose is to provide you with a greater contrast to the light. Once you get out of the dark night of the soul, it essentially provides you with a greater contrast, saying, wow, I was really depressed before, but look how blessed I am to be in this light now. And it gives you a greater perspective on it. It's all about the hills and the valleys. And now, like I mentioned, excuse me, my throat, the dark night of the soul tends to come and go. Some people may never experience it, actually, based off what I've seen. Some people experience it one time. It can last months. It can literally be like 6 months. I had it when it was I think it was my freshman year of college, honestly, into my sophomore year. It probably lasted about roughly a year, actually. I think, honestly, about a year. And yeah, there were glimpses of hope in the year, but most of it was pretty damn depressing and just not good and very stressful, and my ascension symptoms were at their height, and it was not enjoyable. And I wondered, what am I supposed to do? I had the worst physical pain. I literally was just so depressed. I didn't want to go outside. I felt so insecure about everything, and those things still come up for me, but it's not ever as bad as it was at that point, honestly. The dark night of the soul can also be maybe a day. It doesn't even have to be a year long like mine was, and hopefully it's not for you, honestly, but it doesn't have to be that long. But it comes, and it's meant to serve a higher purpose, to show you exactly how to appreciate the light even more. And it's meant to also have you accept the darkness, because the dark night of the soul is an essential part of the spiritual awakening, whether you go through it once or many times, and it's only meant to make you stronger. You can't ever eliminate the darkness fully, I don't think. It's a matter of acceptance, really. And I don't mean acceptance in the sense of saying, oh, this is just the normal now, we just have to deal with this because this sucks and we just have to accept it. Not necessarily. What I mean to say is, we have to accept things that they are okay. It's a normal part of life, and these things will happen, and it's just a matter of the perspective you have, which is very hard to change when you're in that dark place. But it's what's worked for me and what I've seen in other people too. So having the ability to realize that things are okay, that darkness is all right, but you don't have to live your life that way, that it is there but it does not have to affect you, that you can learn from it, that it can provide you with experience and knowledge to push you forward, is really what I'm trying to say. So you don't just want to accept it and let life kick the crap out of you. You want to say, okay, I accept this for what it is. Now how can I improve upon it, and how can I channel that dark energy into something better? You know what I mean? Like water, it's like an impossible river to dam. You can try to dam it and block it off, but eventually it's gonna push through and it's gonna overwhelm you. So rather than blocking the darkness up and blocking it and letting it build inside of you in this negative way, rather you redirect the current, change the flow of the water, push the water somewhere else, and that's going to be huge. So it's never about controlling. I mean, life's energy is too much to control, and in a lot of ways darkness can be stronger than light. In a lot of ways, not to say it's better, but it can be. It can really hold you down, but it's never about control. Control is just ego thinking. Control is, I have to have this, I have to have this, I can't do this, it has to be my way. But that's not necessarily healthy. Control is exhausting. Control is trying to manipulate everything to be your way at all times in a negative way. Redirection and change of the current is flow. It's not applying resistance. It's using the force in your favor to take you in a better direction. I have a sort of analogy about the way time and flow works. It's probably better for a different video, but I'll just talk about it anyway real quick. Most people are worried about the future or the past, and they're worried about where they're going to be tomorrow, or what they did yesterday and how that affects them. And listen, I've made a lot of terrible mistakes, and also I've feared my future a lot, but that doesn't have to necessarily hold you back. Imagine yourself floating in the stream of life, this great big river, and you see this place you want to get to up ahead, and you're so worried about how you're going to get there, so you try to swim really fast to get there. Eventually you're going to exhaust yourself. You're going to run out of energy. Or you say, man, I got to get back to that old place. I have to get back to that place back there, and you try to swim against the current. You're going to exhaust yourself. You'll drown. You'll be depressed. You'll be out of energy. Or then vice versa, we can keep this going. You say, I don't want to go back there. I hate that place. I got to get far away. And you try to swim really fast, and you miss the whole point, when you could have just floated along and let yourself change course with the wind and the river when you needed to, rather than exhaust yourself and depress yourself using all your energy. So the same is true for the dark night of the soul. You don't exactly want to control it and try to defeat it and block it and restrain it and defeat it and say, I'm not depressed, I'm not doing it, and be really restrictive of it. You instead want to channel it into more positive outlets in a natural flowing way. This way you don't exhaust yourself further, because depression and darkness are dense, low density emotions, and you don't need that. Instead you channel it, and that is what it is. And listen, I really hope this helps, the Dark Night of the Soul, just to give general awareness about it and advice of how I got through it, and how understanding that it comes more than once and it can happen, and it's just the way of life sometimes, and figuring out ways to do it. I can tell you right now, the first time I ever went through it, I tried so hard to resist and to just block and be like, be egotistical and say, I can't be this way, this can't be me, and just very negative about it. And it only just perpetuated it longer and longer and longer, and it made my ascension symptoms worse and worse and worse. And I'm telling you here now that it will end. And it's not just you who's going through this. There are lots of people doing this, and it's nice to have people watch the videos, actually, even though it's not many at this point, and say, hey, that's really helping, or you keep this up, this is going to be good, or this and that. So I really appreciate that. I hope my message comes through to you, and I know how hard it can be, and it actually kind of chokes me up a little bit to talk about it, because it's a scary time. It's a scary place, and it's weird for me to open up about this in some ways, because not many people really know this about me. A couple of my close friends do, but to have a mission to build a community online of people who can just uplift each other and build something really good and move on and support each other, and that would be really nice. If I see someone comment on something and somebody else helps them out, or I make my videos now, it's just really good. So do not feel alone. It's okay, it's normal. Unfortunately, it's normal. You'll get through it, it will be fine, and you will be free of this pain soon enough. So again, sorry for my late upload. I usually am a lot better than this, but I've been kind of bogged down lately. And also I felt inclined to talk about the Dark Night of the Soul, because it kind of hit me a little bit during July. Again, I felt that sort of lost feeling, and the glimmers of light came through, and eventually I got myself intuitive hints of where to redirect myself and what to do. And eventually, once you get out of the woods, you see that big mountain across the way that you've got to start climbing, and then you ascend. And then, you probably go back down and you go through the hills and you find a bigger mountain and do it all over again. And you just keep doing it. Some might say, what's the point? But I say it's all about self-improvement and self-mastery, and that is the best thing. That's why we do this. We don't go through all this to just suffer all the time. Sometimes the suffering sucks, but it gives us greater intuition and greater guidance and greater connection, although it doesn't always feel that way. And I can confirm that. There have been times where I've had no spiritual signs, no synchronicities, no nothing, and then after I've gone through this dark pit, I've gotten out, and there's just joy and happiness and new jobs and new friends and new relationships and new opportunities and new social gatherings and new things coming my way, and it was just great. And then it's all in flux, and it comes and goes in quicker succession than the last time. So the more you do this, the better you will be. And with that being said, I really hope this helped. It's great to have more people subscribing. We're almost at 10 subscribers. Doesn't sound like a lot, but again, you're helping yourself by watching my channels, and I'm growing as a person, contributing my message to you, so we're all growing together, and it's really nice. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, leave a comment. I love when people comment. It's nice. I'd love to hear what you have to say. I'd love to respond to it and just build this community up. So thank you. I will see you soon, and I greatly appreciate it. Peace.